Hey there, A's Day fans. Welcome to our Monday edition of our show. I'm your host, Joe Grata. I want to thank each and every one of you for stopping by to hear our thoughts on everything A's baseball. Today is Monday, June 8th. We've got a packed show for you. We're going to kick things off today by starting with what went down over this weekend. As Houston, we have a problem. The Astros would end up taking 2 out of 3, despite the A's dominant collective team victory of 5-0 yesterday. We'll dive into the specifics. We'll give out our 3 stars and our thoughts, as well as all of that good stuff. From there, we are going to touch upon a little bit of housekeeping as a designation for assignment, which would lead to an eventual trade, would go down as the Milwaukee Brewers acquired right-handed pitcher Joel Kuhnel in exchange for cash considerations. We'll discuss the move and what impact it might have on this A's bullpen. And then from there, we are getting a little bit of a future preview into what life as an athletics player, coach, member of the organization, and fan may look like as the A's are going to be playing in the market that they will be calling home at the start of 2028 with their next homestand in Las Vegas at Las Vegas Ballpark, the home of their AAA affiliate, the Las Vegas Aviators. We'll discuss what that is going to look like, what it could set up for, leading us right into our series preview as the A's welcome in the Milwaukee Brewers to their Las Vegas homestand to kick things off in the state of Nevada. Should be a fun little showcase. Should be a lot of offense. We'll dive into all the details. Holy Toledo, let's go A's. All right, there, A's Day fans. Thank you so much for tuning in to our show today. Appreciate all of your support and tuning in to hear our thoughts on everything athletics baseball. Let's jump right in. Let's recap what went down. We're not going to spend too much time here. We'll give it the proper attention, but don't want to dwell on it as there is so much good that seems to be lying ahead. But nevertheless, we're going to head on down to Houston. We go riding high from the series win against the Chicago Cubs at Wrigley. The focus now would switch to adding some divisional American League West wins against the Astros to their ledger. Game 1 this past Friday night, Jack Perkins would be taking on Peter Lambert. Jack Perkins looking to set the tone in the series in Game 1 and take advantage of an opportunity to be back in the A's rotation. Unfortunately, the Astros hit him with a big blow right away. After a Jeremy Pena single and Yordan Alvarez walk, Isaac Paredes delivered a 3-run home run to left center field, his 3rd straight game with a homer at the time, as the Astros grabbed an early 3-0 lead. In the 3rd, Astros would add on via an RBI triple by Christian Walker and a sacrifice fly by Paredes as they now have grown their lead to 5-0. Jack Perkins would start the 5th after a leadoff walk to Pena. That would bring an end to his day. Perkins lasted 4 innings in this one, allowing 5 hits, 5 runs, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. On would come Mason Barnett to manage the bulk innings in relief for this one. To the 6th, the A's finally start to figure out Astros starter Peter Lambert just a little bit. Brent Rooker demolished a solo home run to left, his 9th of the year, and the A's are now on the board. It's 5-1. After a Tyler Soderstrom walk and a Henry Bolte double, that would bring Lambert's day to an end. Peter Lambert in this one, he went 5 1/3 innings, allowed 5 hits, 1 run, 4 walks, 4 Ks. The rest of the way, Mason Barnett had a strong showing. Out of the A's bullpen, Barnett, recently recalled, went 4 innings in this one, allowed 1 hit, no runs, 2 walks, 7 Ks. 4 1/3 innings pitched. However, against the Astros bullpen, the A's were only able to generate 1 more base runner and would not cook up a rally in this one. Ball game over. Astros win Game 1 5-1 this past Friday night. So definitely a mixed bag from Jack Perkins. Gets really snake bitten by 2 tough sequences in 2 innings. But aside from that, looked rather dominant with the strikeout stuff. So it's a true mixed bag. But obviously, as a starter, your job is to go out there and set the tone for your team. Putting the team in a 5-0 hole is not what you want. Definitely a tough way to start this series, but we've seen the way that this A's team seems to operate this year. They seem to have an adjustment period during that game one against their new opponent, whether it's the travel, whatever the case may be. But it would be nice to see them change something up because it seems like clockwork. That first game of a series, more times than not, they're going to be on the losing end of it, unfortunately. And hopefully that turns around sooner rather than later. But Jack Perkins, he just fell behind too many hitters at really crucial points that left him susceptible to some damage from the Astros lineup. And you could see at moments his strikeout stuff was working, but then at other moments, he just didn't have that consistent put-away stuff. And to me, I feel like this is just another notch that I know the long-term vision is for Jack Perkins to be a starter, and I do think that still could be in his toolbox. But I just don't want to keep seeing this shifting back and forth to ruin the kid's confidence, his development. Is he in the rotation or is he in the bullpen? And I know right now the A's are trying to figure it out. They're trying to shuffle because they've had a lot of injury hits to the rotation. So I commend them for trying different pathways. But for Jack Perkins in particular, it seems like he's been very effective in that 3-inning role, especially if you have starters that are going 5 and fly, that can connect that starter's performance to your closer on that given day. And I think Perkins was really thriving in that role. So why, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I know you have bigger plans for Perkins. You want him to be a starter. But sometimes that's not everyone's pathway. Sometimes guys along their way in their professional career find something that suits them perfectly, and they thrive from there. Not everyone has to be that bona fide starter. It's okay. Everyone, especially this A's team, can use all the help they can get in the bullpen. So if Perkins is good 2-3 inning guy, the bullpen should be welcoming him with open arms. And I do believe Perkins is going to get at least one more time through the order because, you're not going to pull the plug that quickly. But just seeing the type of pitcher Perkins is thus far at the major league level, the repertoire that he offers, I think would be even more effective to see in shorter dosages as compared second, third time around. These hitters really can adjust to what seems to be a pretty predictable pitch sequence, especially as a starter. It's not as predictable when he's a reliever, but for some reason, and maybe it's just a case of overthinking things, trying to be a little bit too fine. But it does seem like after a while you fall into that pattern and hitters are just sitting on certain pitches and certain counts. And that's why Perkins seems to have more difficulty putting away hitters as a starter as compared to a reliever. Mason Barnett, to move along on the positive side of things, someone that was recently recalled, he was brilliant out of the bullpen. And I know Barnett is someone else that has also taken a couple turns in the A's rotation last year and is someone that they are also predicting to be a significant piece in this rotation at some point. But again, 4 innings pitched, no runs, 1 hit, 7 Ks. Leave it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Barnett is someone that struggled with his command early in his first major league showing last year. Seems like he's really worked on some things since he got back to AAA, and he's found that command. Now, just because he had this one good outing out of the bullpen, maybe for the psyche of a young pitcher, keep him there for a little bit. Let him continue to have those good outings, put up those zeros, limit damage. And then once he has his feet a little bit more set at the major league level, then maybe we can progress and talk about him working his way into a starter. But I don't like these quick moves, quick reactionary moves that really can hinder the development of a player no matter where you're playing, what position you are, but especially a pitcher. The development of a pitcher is so fragile that any deviation from an upward trend or any sort of consistency could be effective today, could be gone tomorrow. It's that fine of a line. But really wanted to give a shout out to Barnett there. Really impressive stuff to keep the team in the ballgame. And Brent Rooker provides the only offense in this game, a blast. He's starting to come out of his early season slumber, it seems like. You're going to hear his name a couple of times later on in this recap. And Henry Bolte, he goes 3 for 4 in this one with a double. Between him and Rook, that was 4 of the team's 6 hits, or the 5 hits. Outside of that, they only had 1 hit collectively, and it was definitely a struggle. Shout out to Lambert. He had this team off balance until that 6th inning, and then the Astros bullpen took it from there. 3 2/3 innings, no hits allowed, only 1 base runner allowed from that moment on, and 6 strikeouts. Certainly a tough way to start the weekend, but we know how the A's struggle in game ones of series this year. Got to wipe it away and be ready to even the series the next day. A little bit of excitement in the building for the A's. Cade Morris finally getting the ball for the green and gold, going up against Tatsuya Imai. Happy Cade Morris Day to all who celebrated a fun time when the A's farm system graduates another prospect to the major league level. This time, the A's are sending their number 12 prospect to the bump to make his major league debut. The Astros, however, had a different way they wanted to celebrate this one. They grabbed a 1-0 lead in the first via a sac fly from Isaac Paredes before their offense went to work in the next inning. In the second, recently acquired Lamont Wade Jr. leads off the inning with a solo homer in the center field to grow the lead to 2-0. After they loaded the bases 1 out, Yordan Alvarez would blister a grand slam to right, clearing the bases, capping a 5-run second inning and growing their lead to 6-0. In the third, the A's would answer back against Imai. Tyler Soderstrom would rip an RBI single, and Zach Geloff drew a bases-loaded walk to bring in another. It's now 6-2 Astros after 3. In the bottom half of the inning, Jose Altuve would smash a solo home run to increase the Houston lead to 7-2. Cade Morris would work into the 5th, but would be pulled after allowing back-to-back singles to kick off the inning, leading to manager Mark Kotsay going to his bullpen at that point. On would come Jose Suarez, and the Astros put this one away. After an Altuve walk, Lamont Wade Jr. delivered a 2-run double to grow their lead to 9-2 and bring a close to Cade Morris's pitching line, officially 4+ in this one, 9 earned runs. It's not what you want. From there, Jake Myers ripped an RBI single, Christian Vasquez had an RBI double, and Jeremy Pena completed the inning with a 2-run double of his own. When all was said and done, and when the smoke settled, the Astros had a 6-run 6th and grew their lead to 13-2. And that's how the game would hold up. Ball game over. Astros get this one this past Saturday, 13-2, and secure the 3-game series victory. So, a fun day at the start with the excitement. Earlier in the week announced that Cade Morris would be making his major league debut, and he just didn't have it. And it just didn't seem like there was any deviation from... There weren't enough adjustments made, is what I'm getting at. That slider was so telegraphed to Yordan Alvarez, it was almost as if he was at the release point. I had a really bad feeling something bad was going to happen. But it's his first start. It's not how you wanted it to go, but he got that out of the way. He's officially made his first Major League start, so congrats to Cade Morris. I know it's going to be tough for you to remember it fondly at the moment, I'm sure, as the competitor that Cade Morris is. But someday, perhaps we will look back on it and laugh with how poorly it went. But I'm sure there's going to be a lot that he takes out of it as a learning tool to go out there at his next start and put up a much more winning performance that we know he's capable of. He's the number 12 prospect in the organization for a reason. It's one bad start on the road in Houston. So be it. But he made his debut. So congrats to the A's organization for graduating another prospect to the Major League level. That's something that is always worthy of boasting about. The A's must be having something go right in their farm system to have these guys ready ahead of schedule. I know sometimes it's been out of need, and with this team being on the younger side of things, but nevertheless, it takes a certain type of player to be able to even take part of one pitch of a Major League game. So congrats on him on making his debut. Looking forward to seeing him back out there. But this game, I mean, it's tough to come back from being down in a 6-0 hole And shout out to the A's for having somewhat of an answer in that third inning, getting 2 back, but that's the closest they got. Offense was dormant again, 6 for 33 in this one, 5 walks, 13 strikeouts, 1 for 5 from runners in scoring position. At this point, they're 2 for 10 with runners in scoring position. This is a theme that has been consistent, that they just haven't had enough of those professional at-bats to cash in on those opportunities when they're there. And I know a lot of their runners in scoring position seem to be coming with 2 outs, but nevertheless, sometimes you got to, and I know that's advantage pitcher, because with 1 out, there's a lot of other ways that you can bring in those runners in scoring position without necessarily needing to getting hit. With 2 outs, you have to reach base in terms of a run scoring situation. But sometimes just simplifying the process, not trying to do too much, can really lead to dividends. And we've seen at times with this A's offense, when things are going well, it's contagious. And these guys are connecting at bats, really putting the pressure on that opposition. But we just haven't seen it consistently yet this year. They really couldn't get anything going against Imai in this one. Imai wasn't necessarily as dominant as he was in his first start back in April during the A's home opening series when Imai collected his first Major League victory. But definitely a tough way to come back down 6-0, so I'm not putting it on this one. This was just a collective bad day. And that happens in baseball. They're not all going to be pretty. They're not all going to be wins. They're not going to all be losses. And some of them are just going to go away from you sooner rather than later. It was a learning curve. And looking forward to seeing Cade Morris back on out there, to see him build upon what went wrong in Houston, to see how he can right the ship and get a little bit closer in the right direction of carving a role in this rotation moving forward. Disappointing showing without a doubt, but a job is still at hand. You don't ever want to get swept, so you show up the next day and do whatever it takes to get a victory. Sunday, rubber match down in Houston. Game 3 in this one. Gage Jump making his 3rd professional start at the Major League level, going up against Mike Burrows. A's come in hungry for a win in this one, and we're in much better of control of this game. Scoreless in this one until the 3rd. After a leadoff single by Alika Williams, the big Amish Nick Kurtz smashed a 2-run home run to center field, his 11th on the year as the A's grabbed a 2-0 lead. Later in the inning, Brent Rooker would deliver an RBI double to increase their lead to 3-0. The A's would add 1 in the 4th as Zach Geloff would come in to score following the Jeremy Pena error, increasing the A's lead to 4-0. In the 5th, the man is heating up. Brent Rooker absolutely obliterated a solo home run into the left field boxes, his 10th of the year, as it's now 5-0 A's. The 5-0 lead was more than enough support for left-handed pitcher Gage Jump to go out there and do his thing in his 3rd career start. He was dominant. Jump went 6 1/3 innings in this one, allowing 3 hits, no runs, 3 walks, 3 Ks. The Astros would only manage 2 more base runners the rest of the way, putting a bow on this solid team victory. For the A's, it went Jump to Sterner to Leiter Jr. to Harris. Ball game over. A's pitch a shutout and win 5-0, salvaging the 3rd game of the series against the Astros, avoiding the sweep. So again, the A's offense, not a ton of production in this one, but they definitely got enough of it in a extra base hit and slugging type of fashion. Definitely better as compared to the first 2 games in the series. They go 8 for 36. 3 walks, 8 Ks, 1 for 8 and runners in scoring position, however, is an area that they look to continue to improve on. Brent Rooker, he was the key offensive cog throughout the series. He collected a hit at least in each of the games in the series. In this one, he goes 2 for 3 with a double and a home run and 2 RBIs. And Nick Kurtz, he demolished a 2-run home run himself. They were basically the power of the offense. Outside of that, they generated that other run on an error. So still looking for more of this offense to get out of this recent slumber that they've been in collectively. The story, however, in this one, Gage Jump. Wow. He's been brilliant. And ever since his first start where, it wasn't necessarily the best line, but the way that Jump reacted to it, a lot of rookies would have spoke about some good they got out of it and some of the bad, but Jump, the competitor that he is, doesn't matter where he's pitching, whoever he's pitching for, he expects to win the ball game, and he expects his best out there every 5th time, which is One of many reasons why I'm excited for Jump to be in the A's rotation for the long term. He continues to go out there since that first start. That start in Wrigley, winning that 2-1 decision. Goes down there to Houston when his team lost the first 2 games in the series, needing to be that stopgap, avoiding the sweep, putting up a winning performance. He does it again. His starts against the Cubs and Astros have been brilliant. They're everything you want in a starter. He's pitching the contact, but he can rack up the strikeouts in a hurry as well. Had a few more strikeouts in Chicago, but he pitched the contact in Houston and let his defense do the work. Despite some of the recent struggles, the A's have actually been one of the better defensive teams in all of baseball, so let them go to work. And he did. Another solid performance from Jump. This team really needed it. You don't want to end a road trip on a sour note like that, being swept. I know you had a good start, but you want to have good bookends to a series, and that's exactly what they accomplished. By salvaging the 3rd game of this 3-game series, bringing to a close a 6-game road trip, it evens them at 500 for the road trip. You want to do better, but there's something about being below 500 that makes you feel a little bit less of any sort of success coming out of that as compared to you won a series, you lost a series. Now you got to go back home and take care of business. But this homestand is going to be a little bit different because they're going to be playing in a new environment that they haven't played in this year thus far as a collective. The A's now leave Houston 31-34 and head to Las Vegas for their homestand in Henderson at Las Vegas Ballpark, the home of the A's AAA Las Vegas Aviators, as a preview into life with A's baseball in the Las Vegas market. Before we get there, we are going to hand out our 3 A-star performers from this past weekend in Houston. For our 3rd star, we're going to give it to this pitcher receiving their first A-star performer of the year thus far. We're giving it to right-handed pitcher Mason Barnett. And though it was in a losing effort, however, he gave the team every opportunity to scratch and claw back into it. And Barnett really picked up the reins, continuously putting up zeros in that Friday night 5-1 loss. But in his work, he went 4 innings, allowing 1 hit, no runs, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. Dominant stuff from Barnett, looking to carve a role in this A's pitching staff. For our 2nd star, we're going to give it to A's designated hitter Brent Rooker. He had a hit, like we mentioned, in each game in the series, and collectively, he went 4 for 11 with 2 home runs, 3 RBIs, and a double. Was the main source of offense throughout this weekend outside of Nick Kurtz. And our 1st star is going to go to yesterday's winning pitcher. He improves to 2-1 on the year in his 3 career starts. We're giving it to Gage Jump. He was the stopgap. He's acting like an ace already. He went 6 in the 3rd innings, allowed 3 hits, no runs, 3 walks, 3 Ks. He said, get on my back, and let's ride the road to victory as a collective. Before the Vegas preview, as we wrap our 3-star performers from this past weekend, we actually wanted to do a little housekeeping and talk about a transaction that went down over the last few days. If you weren't made aware and why you didn't see this right-hander over the weekend, well, right-hander Joel Kuhnel is heading to the Milwaukee Brewers in exchange for cash considerations. The A's designated Kuhnel for assignment on Friday. Both teams have announced the deal. Milwaukee moved Quinn Priester to the 60-day injured list to clear a 40-man roster spot for Kuhnel. The 31-year-old Kuhnel was one of manager Mark Kotze's top options in the 9th inning early in the season. He picked up 4 saves in his first 7 appearances. Kuhnel remained in the high-leverage mix through May, but struggled to close out the month. The final blow came on Thursday against the Cubs. Kuhnel was called on to preserve a 3-run lead in the 9th inning. He gave up 4 earned runs on 5 hits, while recording just 2 outs. Righty Luis Medina was unable to put out Kuhnel's fire, allowing a pair of hits, including a walk-off single to Pete Crow Armstrong. The disastrous outing raised Kuhnel's ERA from 2.88 to 4.21. Kuhnel has pitched for 4 teams across parts of 6 big league seasons. He spent all of 2025 at AAA in the Yankees and Phillies systems. The veteran righty came to the A's on a minor league deal in December. He didn't break camp with the team, but reached the majors after just 2 minor league outings. Milwaukee is missing several key pieces in the bullpen. Offseason trade acquisition Angel Zerpa was lost to Tommy John surgery. Lefty DL Hall went down with a pectoral injury. Veterans Jared Koenig and Rob Zasterny have missed the majority of the season. Kuhnel, being a righty, wouldn't necessarily alleviate those absences, but he could provide value in a lower leverage role. On the year thus far, Kuhnel, he's appeared in 25 games, pitching to a 1-3 record with a 4.21 ERA, 25 2/3 innings pitched, 6 walks allowed, 14 strikeouts, and a 1.29 WHIP. I'm not really 100% sure what's going down here, because to me, there must be something that happened behind the scenes that led to this designation. Because up until this past week, Kuhnel was one of your more reliable relievers. And I know of recent he was getting hit around a little bit more. But going into that Chicago appearance, a 2.88 ERA compared to what you have in your bullpen, where's your better answers? The guy throws strikes. He's a sinker bowler, which is what you want in a hitter-friendly fly ball environment in Sutter Health Park. I know he got touched up real bad in Chicago, but there have been plenty of guys that haven't had stellar performances this year coming out of that bullpen. So something else might be going on here. Some ineffectiveness, maybe. I don't know. I really couldn't put my finger as to why this went down. But I wanted to get us all caught up to speed because I know Joel Kuhnel was slowly becoming a behind-the-scenes type fan favorite with all the nicknames coming out. The guy kept coming in and just throwing strikes, getting saves, getting out of tough situations. I'm not really sure why. I'm not sure why they moved on from him. And I don't want to dwell on too much, but he was a really good story. He's kind of bounced around, and it seemed like he had established a home here with the A's, at least for this season. And with how things started, he was the most called upon because he was the one getting outs. He was the one throwing strikes. And I know it went a little bit awry, but I understand you can't just send him out right to AAA because I think he was out of options at this stage in his career. So you roll the dice. But now he's with another organization, and granted, it's good he's in the National League, but you actually might see Joel Kuhnel sooner rather than later. You might see him in Vegas this week with the competitor in who Kuhnel is and with the nature of, allowing a player to get an opportunity to show what your old team is missing. I would bet money that we'll see Joel Kuhnel this week, without a doubt. But best of luck to Joel Kuhnel in Milwaukee. Was really enjoying the way that you attacked hitters and really doing with a low profile and going about your business day by day. Sad to see you go, but you never know when things can circle back, and the crazy nature of the reliever carousel that someday we'll maybe see Kuhnel back in an A's uniform, but if not, thanks for the brief time that you were here. Really wasn't enjoyable to see you solidify the bullpen and calm things down at points. And we'll continue to track your progress and see how things work for you in Milwaukee. Just not this week. Maybe after this week. This episode is also brought to you by the Holiday Inn Sacramento Downtown Arena. Stay in the heart of downtown at Holiday Inn Sacramento Downtown Arena, ideally located near Old Sacramento Waterfront, Golden One Center, and Downtown Commons Doco. Our full-service Sacramento hotel is just 15 minutes from Sacramento International Airport and within walking distance of the California State Capitol and Safe Credit Union Convention Center. Host meetings, conferences, and social events in our flexible boardrooms and ballrooms supported by experienced on-site sales and events teams. Enjoy modern amenities, including a rooftop outdoor pool, on-site fitness center, and Cypress Grill restaurant, serving breakfast, dinner, and cocktails. Guest rooms and suites feature comfortable workspaces, contemporary amenities, and city views, making them ideal for both short stays and extended visits. Whether you're attending an event, planning a meeting, or exploring Sacramento dining, entertainment, an A's game, and cultural attractions, our downtown location keeps you close to it all. Downtown access, full-service comfort, easy booking. Stay at our downtown Sacramento hotel. This week, as we move to the back half of our show, we get a glimpse into the future as the A's kick off a homestand later tonight, but not from West Sacramento, but rather in the vicinity of their future home in Henderson at Las Vegas Ballpark, just minutes outside of Las Vegas, where their new ballpark is currently being built. As the A's gear up for their move to Las Vegas in 2028, they will get a test run in the city as they take on the Brewers later this evening. They will play at the site of the A's AAA squad in the Las Vegas ballpark. Las Vegas will be getting a fun and exciting A's squad in a few years, as the club is headlined by Nick Kurtz, Shea Langoliers, and Jacob Wilson. These young stars will at least have some more experience under their belts by the time they take the field in Las Vegas. The A's have been sitting around 500 baseball for most of the season and could look to add some pieces in the coming weeks to build towards being a playoff team this season. The team has shown interest in Royal starter Chris Bubich and could also look to target some bullpen arms to bolster their staff. Ultimately, the club's goal is to ensure they have playoff experience and bring a winning atmosphere to Las Vegas's fans. If you are a Vegas sports fan, now's the perfect time to get in on A's baseball. The A's current home, Sutter Health Park in West Sacramento, will be criticized for being a hitter-friendly ballpark. However, the A's will head to an even more hitter-friendly stadium in the Las Vegas ballpark. The Las Vegas ballpark is home to some crazy final scores and inflated ERAs. The wind, the hot weather, and the small stadium make it very easy for teams to hit lots of home runs. On Saturday, the final score of the Aviators game in the Las Vegas ballpark was 21-10. A's infielders Jacob Wilson and Max Muncy were both in the lineup that game as they both get ready to rejoin the A's at some point in the next week or so. For Muncy specifically, we could see him back during this series against Milwaukee. Regardless, the hitter-friendly atmosphere should bring some high-scoring games and could allow some of the cold A's bats to get back on track. No better place and certainly a good time as the team comes off a series loss against Houston. As mentioned, the Las Vegas ballpark is the home of the A's AAA team, the Aviators. Most of this A's lineup is homegrown, which means a lot of them have played for the Aviators, have played at that ballpark. On the current roster, Brent Rooker, Jeff McNeil, and Alika Williams are the only three hitters who did not come up with the A's and play for the Aviators. However, all the other A's hitters should be very familiar with the site, and that familiarity should help the A's showcase some power in this homestand. The Brewers are a good baseball team, so it certainly won't be easy for the A's to limit their bats, but we should all get treated to some high-scoring games under the lights in Las Vegas. So, hope you're able to enjoy the baseball action from Las Vegas ballpark all throughout the week and should be treated to a week of the offense getting back on track to some capacity. Now, let's talk about the first opponent the A's welcome in this week as they will be taking on the National League Central leading Milwaukee Brewers. The Milwaukee Brewers come in with a record of 40-23 and are led by manager Pat Murphy. In their last series, they just completed a 3-game sweep yesterday against the Colorado Rockies at Coors Field in Colorado. They won 9-7, 7-1, and 12-4. Offensively, this Brewers team ranks as follows. As a team, they're batting .251 for an average, which is 6th in baseball. They've hit 50 home runs, which is 29th. They've scored 329 runs, which is 5th. They've walked 275 times, which is the 2nd most. They've struck out 501 times, which is the 4th least. And they hit to a .720 OPS, which is 10th. On the mound, they've pitched it to a .326 ERA, which is 3rd in baseball. They've walked 216 batters, which is 12th. They've struck out 606, which is 3rd. And they've pitched to a .120 whip, which is 5th. And defensively, they've been fielding it at a .988 fielding percentage, which is 12th in baseball. And their 27 errors committed is tied for the 6th least across the league. Now, this is how the Brewers project in terms of their starting lineup. They'll be led off either at the designated hitter position or in left field, Christian Yelich. Batting second, the left fielder, Jackson Chourio. Batting third, the second baseman, Bryce Terang. Batting fourth, the catcher, William Contreras. You may see backup catcher Gary Sanchez at some point. Batting fifth, at first base, having a breakout season, Jake Bowers. Batting sixth, the center fielder, Garrett Mitchell. Batting seventh, the right fielder, Sal Frelick. Batting eighth, the third baseman, Luis Rengifo. And batting ninth, you'll see a combination of David Hamilton and Joey Ortiz over at shortstop. Now, for us to be able to all enjoy the A's action in Vegas, let's take a look at when these games are scheduled for first pitch, as well as the starting pitching matchup probables. So tonight, like I mentioned, 7:05 p.m. Pacific time, first pitch. Kyle Harrison will be getting the ball for the Brewers going up against Jeffrey Springs. Tomorrow, and by the way, all of these games, first pitch time is 7:05 p.m. Pacific time. So tomorrow night, Tuesday, Game 2, Robert Gasser will be getting the ball for the Brewers going up against JT Ginn. And then on Wednesday, Game 3, also a 7:05 p.m. Pacific Time first pitch, Brandon Sproat will be getting the ball for the Brewers going up against Jack Perkins. Let's get to know these Brewers starting pitchers that these A's hitters will have to fare against. We're going to talk about Game 1 starter tonight. Left-handed pitcher Kyle Harrison. He's in the midst of a breakout season. He's made 11 starts this year thus far, pitching to a 7-1 record with a 1.57 ERA. In 57 and a third innings pitched, he's walked 16 batters, struck out 73, and has pitched to a 103 whip. In his last start against his old club, the San Francisco Giants, he got the win. He went 5 2/3 innings in this one, allowed 4 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, and 12 strikeouts. His fastball thus far has averaged 95 miles an hour on the year to date. Kyle Harrison has emerged as a frontline starting pitcher for the Milwaukee Brewers, unlocking elite potential through key mechanical adjustments in the Milwaukee pitching lab. After being traded twice in a one-year span from San Francisco to Boston, then to Milwaukee, the 24-year-old left-hander is authoring a massive breakout campaign as of this month. Harrison currently boasts a 1.57 ERA across 11 starts and 73 strikeouts over 57 and a third innings pitched, as previously mentioned, highlighted by a recent 12-strikeout gem against his former team, the Giants. He's made some mechanical adjustments to reach this level of effectiveness. Harrison raised his arm slot from a low three-quarters angle, approximately 27 degrees, to a true three-quarters release at 33 degrees. His positioning on the rubber has changed. He shifted his starting put on the rubber to the first base side, maximizing visual deception against both righties and lefties. His release is higher and deeper towards first base, providing a sharper downward vertical drop on breaking balls. Harrison relies heavily on a 3-pitch sequence, having completely abandoned a cutter he experimented with in 2025, which led to him increasing the amount of home runs he allowed at the time. He has wiped that from his arsenal completely. His fastball is his foundational weapon, which features an elite 32.1% whiff rate due to unique upshoot visual deception and 3.2 inches of extra horizontal movement. His slurve transformed from a liability into a shutdown secondary pitch. Steeper arm path has generated vast vertical bite, holding hitters to a meager 108 batting average. And his changeup is primarily deployed against right-handed hitters. It boasts 3.4 inches of improved vertical drop compared to last season. And his sinker, he keeps in his back pocket, rarely used in his arsenal. His strikeout rate has spiked to an elite 31.9%, up from 24.4% career baseline, ranking in the top 5% of Major League Baseball. His overall whiff rate rests in the 80th percentile. Long plagued by control issues, Harrison has increased his first pitch strike rate to a commanding 70%. His walk rate has dropped to a career low 7%. The quality of contact is reducing from hitters, all as part of this wonderful equation for Harrison. Hitters are struggling to square him up, posting a microscopic 28.5% hard hit rate, which is in the top 5% MLB, and a low 5.1% barrel rate. Harrison remains a heavy fly ball pitcher, inducing fly balls or line drives on 62.8% of balls in play, making him a perfect fit for a team backed by elite outfield defense. Harrison's underlying StatCast data, including a 2.46 FIP and a 3.11 expected ERA, proves his current run is highly sustainable rather than a fluke. While his 1.57 ERA may experience minor regression toward his 3.11 expected ERA, his ability to confidently command the zone while generating elite whiffs has firmly established him as a frontline asset with true ace upside. So that's to get to know tonight's left-handed starter, Kyle Harrison. Let's get to know the other left-hander that the A's are going to face off against tomorrow. Game 2 starter, left-handed pitcher Robert Gasser. On the year thus far, he's made 3 starts, pitching to a 1-1 record with a 4.73 ERA. In 13 and a third innings pitched, he's walked 7 batters, struck out 12, and has pitched to a 1.43 whip. In his last start, he got the loss 1-0 against the Giants. He went 5 innings in that one, allowed 5 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 5 Ks. His fastball thus far in the year has averaged 91.8 miles an hour. Gasser is currently carving out a role as a back-of-the-rotation starter for the Brewers, effectively returning to regular action after missing most of the 2025 season, recovering from June 2024 Tommy John surgery. The 27-year-old left-handed pitcher relies heavily on high IQ pitchability, arsenal depth, and unique arm angles rather than overwhelming velocity to navigate major league lineups. Gasser attacks hitters with a 5-pitch mix from a low deceptive slot that creates difficult entry angles for both righties and lefties. His sinker is his most utilized pitch. It's his primary fastball variation. It features significant late arm side run, nearly 16 inches, designed to jam right-handed hitters and induce weak ground ball contact. His sweeper-slider combo uses 23% of the time. It's Gasser's signature money pitch. Coming from his low release height, it mimics a traditional slider but carries distinct lateral sweep with minimal vertical drop. It remains an elite put-away offering, registering a 34.5% whiff rate against all batters. His cutter acts as a high-velocity bullet variation that hovers near zero horizontal break. He blends this in to freeze hitters who are overly adjusted to his lateral sweeper. And then his four-seam fastball, though sitting in the lower percentiles for pure MLB velocity, it gains efficiency through 6.8 inches of extension, which ranks in the 79th percentile, and a steep vertical approach angle. This allows him to elevate it effectively above barrels when located accurately. His changeup displays largely arm side fade, but is thrown quite firm, occasionally bleeding too close to his fastball velocity. It remains a work in progress for true command. Gasser possesses the baseline command and depth and repertoire to remain a reliable back-end major league starter. His ultimate ceiling depends on generating slightly more swing and miss stuff at the top of the strike zone, as his current major league profile leans heavily toward generating soft contact. And as for Game 3 starter, the A's will be faring against right-handed pitcher Brandon Sproat. Sproat has appeared in 12 games this year, 10 of those being starts, pitching to a 1-4 record with a 6.17 ERA, 54 innings pitched, 29 walks, 54 Ks, and a 1.56 whip in his rookie campaign thus far. In his last start, he got the no decision at Colorado. He went 5 innings, allowing 7 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, 2 Ks. His fastball has averaged 96.3 miles an hour thus far, which ranks in the 78th percentile of all qualified pitchers. He features one of the deepest arsenals in the organization, but is currently trying to harness his loud stuff while adjusting to major league hitters. Traded from the New York Mets during this past offseason, Sproat holds a number 3 or 4 starter ceiling, contingent on tightening his execution and limiting hard contact. Sproat deploys a massive 6 to 7 pitch mix that creates complex sequencing but makes consistency a challenge. Four-seam fastball and sinker. His velocity is elite, sitting comfortably at 95 to 98 and topping out at 99 to 100. However, his four-seamer lacks optimal ride or extension, rendering it susceptible to damage, a 380 opponent average in AAA last year. His heavy sinker functions as a highly effective ground ball generator. He works with a sweeper and gyro slider. His primary breaking ball is an 84 to 86 mile an hour sweeper that flashes plus horizontal bite and serves as his best swing and miss weapon. He blends this with a harder, shorter 88 to 90 mile an hour gyro slider. His changeup sits in the upper 80s to low 9s, which features late arm side run and depth. It serves as an essential equalizer to keep left-handed hitters off balance. His curveball is a distinct vertical option used primarily as a get-me-over or change of pace strike. Some of his strengths include his elite velocity, like we mentioned, his deep repertoire, and his ground ball induction, with his heavy sinker and fading changeup reliably producing weak downward contact. His weaknesses and areas for growth: Sproat is generally around the strike zone, but struggles to hit specific spots. His long, deep arm circle makes it hard to replicate his release point. Hard contact and long balls are a susceptibility. When his sequencing lapses or pitches leak over the plate, major league hitters punish him. He has already surrendered 11 home runs through 54 innings this season. He goes through the order penalty. He routinely dominates hitter during their first look at a 100 opponent average, but suffers a massive drop-off, a 341 average, once lineups see him a second or third time. Sproat earned a spot in Milwaukee's rotation, but has experienced a turbulent rookie season. While his raw stuff is unquestionable, the Brewers are heavily monitoring his performance. Manager Pat Murphy recently signaled that the team's patience could wear thin if he cannot pitch deeper into games and curb the dud outings. So that's a wrap on our Brewers scouting report of the starting pitchers that these A's hitters will be going up against. Not much history to speak of. They've never faced Gasser or Sproat outside of Jonah Heim, who's 1 for 2 with a double earlier this year when Heim was with the Braves, going up against Sproat and the Brewers. And against Kyle Harrison, Brent Rooker's 1-for-1 lifetime with a double. Zach Geloff's 1-for-2, and Jeff McNeil is 1-for-2. So not a ton of familiarity between these two sides in terms of these pitching matchups. Last year, when these two teams faced off head-to-head back on April 18th to 20th in 2025 in West Sacramento, the Brewers actually ended up winning 2 out of 3. They won Game 1 5-3 before the A's took Game 2 3-1, and then the Brewers ran away with Game 3, winning 14-1. Some Milwaukee Brewers for you to keep an eye on are first baseman Jake Bauers. He's having a breakout campaign, hitting .281 with 11 home runs and 40 RBIs, and hitting to an .891 OPS. Second baseman Bryce Terang hitting .281 with 9 home runs, 39 RBIs, and an .881 OPS. And designated hitter Christian Yelich, who's appeared in 34 games. He's missed some time due to injury, but he's hitting .282 with 4 homers, 20 RBIs, and a .799 OPS. For our A's Day home run prediction, thank you to the Big Amish Nick Kurtz for homering in the last series. Let's keep the home run predictions flowing. We feel like there's going to be an abundance of home runs this week. We're going to take someone that leads the club in home runs. We feel he's going to have a great power surge this week to keep adding on. Of course, we are talking about, for our A's Day home run prediction, we are selecting catcher Shea Langoliers is going to hit at least 1 home run over these next 3 against the Brewers. And as for our series prediction, we do feel while the A's are catching the Brewers at a good portion of their starting rotation, this Brewers team is solid. They're rolling, and they are going to be a tough opponent to beat. We are going to predict that the Brewers are going to take 2 out of 3 in the series. We do feel they are going to win tonight 7-4 before the A's win Game 2 11-8. And then Wednesday's rubber match we feel is going to be a wild one. We're predicting the Brewers win that one 14-8. Just trying to predict the elements of that ballpark. We do think there's going to be tons of offense. Looking forward to seeing how the A's fare over in that environment for a unique twist on a homestand for this season. So I hope you enjoy all of the Brewers-A's action. Again, first pitch set tonight, 7:05 p.m. Pacific time. Be sure to tune in. Kyle Harrison will be getting the ball for the Brewers going up against Jeffrey Springs for the A's. And with that, that brings us to the conclusion of another edition of A's Day. Appreciate you all stopping by and hearing our thoughts on athletics baseball. After we enjoy the sights and sounds of the Brewers and A's facing off, we will continue back here behind the mic on Friday's show as we recap what goes down against the Brewers in their series before previewing their next opponent coming to Vegas to conclude the A's homestand, but also welcome them in over the weekend at Las Vegas Ballpark as we are going to preview the Colorado Rockies series. And then we will be sure to discuss any other A's news that comes across our desk. Appreciate you all stopping by. Once again, I'm your host, Joe Grado. Can't wait to be back behind the mic for our Friday show already. And hopefully it's a happy podcast where we get this prediction wrong and the A's go out there and take it to the Brew Crew. Take care, everyone. Enjoy the A's action in Las Vegas, and we look forward to discussing on Friday's show. Till next time, Holy Toledo, let's go A's.